In today's video, you're going to learn how a success checklist creates predictable outcomes. So, in all my years of speaking and talking and consulting, right, I've never asked the question, who wants to be successful? And somebody said, me, I don't want to be successful, right? I've never been in a room and asked the question, who wants to be wealthy? And every hand didn't go up, right? So, for all intents and purposes, I can say that in my 20 plus years of speaking and doing what I do, people genuinely do want to be successful and people do genuinely want to be wealthy. So the question comes down to, well, why do so many people struggle in the areas of creating wealth, and not just creating wealth, but just struggling in just all these different areas of life, their marriages, their finances, their health, right? Why do so many people struggle in these areas? Well, I was having this conversation with my daughters here recently, and pulled them into to the office. And usually, when I ask them to come to the office, you can see the PTSD kick in. So they're like, "Oh Lord, what's Dad about to talk about today?" And then when they see me pull out a dry erase marker, they know it's about to get real. So if I pull out a dry erase marker, ish is about to get real. So I pull it out. And I just asked him a question. I said, "Hey, we're a couple weeks into the summer now, and I'm seeing that you guys are sleeping in a lot." Right? And I get it. Summertime, I get a chance to sleep in, but I didn't sleep in the summers when I was growing up. I mean, we had a family paper route. I was up every day around 5. Like if my dad let me sleep in because he got on and threw some papers prior to, shoot, I was still getting woke up around 6:30 to make sure the rest of the papers got delivered. And then we would go out and either volunteer for the Red Cross and teach swimming at a very cold pool outside, or we would go out and we had a tree cutting service where we go out and cut down trees, right? So I'm on them a little bit, like, yo, why are you sleeping in so much? Like you're missing some of the most productive hours of your day. Get out of the bed. And then I asked him a question. I said, "Hey, so what are your goals for this summer?" Right. And that's when they kind of looked at me like, "Oh, here dad goes." It's like, yeah, like what are your goals? You have this summer, right? And you have a finite amount of summers before you graduate into adulthood. So these summers are important, right? Because summers you're off from school and you can focus on some things. When you start to become an adult, adulting, there is no I took the summer off unless you're a school teacher or what I'm saying, or a seasonal employee or something along those lines, right? So I'm just like, hey, so what are your goals this summer? And then that led us into a deeper conversation around, well, what are your goals and what is your checklist to hit those goals? And this one they're like, well, Dad, I don't have a checklist. I said, okay, well, let me show you what I'm doing. So then I pulled out my checklist. And on my checklist, I listed a bunch of different things. Matter of fact, the reason I'm doing this on a Zoom call today is I'm going to show this to you. So I became convicted in my own personal finances here recently because I was like, man, I am so um involved in other people's finances and making sure that they win, that sometimes my stuff gets neglected, right? And that's just keeping it 100 with you. We see it all the time with barbers. They're so busy, and fixing everybody else, cutting everybody else's hair, that their hair looks crazy, right? Or the accountant, what I'm saying, who hasn't filed their taxes, or the advisor, what I'm saying, who hasn't looked at their accounts. So I said, man, I got to make sure I stay on point because I have some pretty lofty goals, right? To be work optional before the age of 50 and create this passive income. So that requires me to actually have a checklist. So I showed my daughters my checklist, and I'm gonna share this checklist with you guys right now. Now, this is my checklist. This doesn't necessarily have to be your checklist, but I just want to kind of give you an idea of what I mean by checklist. So I created a daily, weekly checklist for myself, right? So on Mondays, which is typically my admin day, you'll see in here where I have, you need to make sure you know your numbers. So update your assets and your liabilities, right? Calculate your net worth changes. Then we have debt and leverage, review balances and interest rates, investment and asset allocation, review investment performance, see if how things are going, if we need to shift anything, have some family wealth moves, fund the family accounts, review trust and insurances, assign small wealth tasks to the family, tax optimization, big picture, right? So this is just what I do on Monday because Monday is my, admin day. And it's an admin day typically for my business where I'm working on clients' financial plans and things of that nature. And I was like, how in the world am I working on everybody else's plan, but I'm not working on our plan, the most important plan, right? So and why do I say our plan is the most important plan? Our plan is a plan to get us in a position in order to become, financially free. What I mean by financially free is we have more passive income than we have expenses. Matter of fact, that's what I need to actually add in here because this is a template I'm working on. Passive income, passive income streams, right? Because you need to be tracking that. Okay. So I'll add that to it. And then I have my daily checklist. So here's my daily checklist. Wake up early, 5 to 6 a.m. So we probably need to change that to 4 to 5 because that's what time I actually wake up. I wake up at 4:15 every day. So checklist. Did I wake up early? Yes. Did I perform physical exercise? Yes. Did I schedule time for or did I take time for mindfulness and prayer? Yes. Did I put something high quality into my brain? Did I watch a podcast or YouTube video that took me to the next level? Did I take some time to read a book? Okay, cool. Did I priority plan and plan what are the things I need to get accomplished for the day? Or more importantly, what is the one thing that if I got accomplished, let me type that in there in real time. What is the one thing that I'm going to do today that's going to take me to the next level, take my business to the next level, take my family? Like, what is the one thing? Because there's always a ton of things you can do every day, y'all. Like, I get it. You know what I'm saying? It can get very overwhelming. But what is the one thing to do? And then I have my financial review, right? Review the accounts, right? Make sure, things are in place. My wealth log, right? Deep work blocks. Hey, do I have 2 to 4 hours? Did I have 2 to 4 hours of uninterrupted time focused on key revenue generating tasks, right? Relationship capital. Did I reach out to people? So this is my template for my daily checklist, right? So I'm sharing this with you just to let you know I'm not just talking out the side of my neck about having a checklist. So now fast forward, I'm having a conversation with my daughters and I show them this checklist. And I'm like, let me see your checklist, right? Hey, daughter, if you have a goal to, start varsity this year, what are you doing this summer in what needs to go on your checklist in order to do that? Hey, daughter, if your goal is to have, learn, get better at your foreign language, what are you doing daily to get better at that foreign language, right? So I start to break these things down and you can kind of see they're like, okay, dad, we kind of see where you're going, right? And I start to just tell them it just more, right? Hey, winners don't wing it. They follow a checklist, right? And then, I read this quote and it's just super powerful to me. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Let me say that again. You don't rise to the level of your goals. Just because you set a goal this high, hey, I got to go to play D1. That don't mean you're going to do it. But if you can show me a system, if you can show me your checklist, if you can show me your daily activity that's going to get you closer to your goals, that might become more believable, right? So it's a lot of cats out here. Oh, I want to be financially free. Okay, cool. Show me the systems that you're using in order to do that. Well, I don't have any systems. So then you just blowing smoke. You just, what I'm saying, what we call back in the day, you're just talking shit, right? Oh man, I want to be super healthy. Okay, cool. What systems are you using? I don't have any system. Okay, so you're just talking shit, right? So you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems, right? And a checklist is a system. Don't believe me? Let's talk about some industries where a checklist could mean life or death, right? Pilots. We did, me and my wife not too long ago, it's probably a year or two ago, we did a flight simulator. We got that as a gift certificate. So, right. So, literally, we flew a simulated plane, if you will. And there's a ton of checklists. Why? Because you're about to take, a a huge monstrous machine into the air. You know what I'm saying? If you have, if we had, people flying with us, right, responsible for, people's lives, things of that nature, right? It has major checklists, like a couple pages of checklists. This check, this check, this check. Why? Because lives are on the line. What about surgeons? My daughter just had a surgery on her ankle. I have some surgeries. My wife have had some surgeries, right? You don't think surgeons have checklists, right? Hey, let's go through the checklist. Did we do this? This anesthesia. Did we do this? That right? Right? A checklist again to make sure that the goal is on point, right? They don't want to go in and do this off of memory. No surgeon is getting into surgery and be like, oh, let me think now, what goes next? Hey, y'all, what do we do next? No, they actually have a checklist. Okay, y'all, next we do this, next we do this, right? Military. Talk about, what I'm saying, like lives being on the line, right? A military mission is checklist driven, right? It's not based upon emotion. Hey, y'all, so what do y'all think we need to do? Y'all think we need to attack or, well, what time of day y'all want to go? You want to sleep in a little bit and then kind of see how we feel in the morning. Then, if you feel pretty good in the morning, maybe we go ahead and attack then, or, well, we see them lining up. What you think? Right. Nobody's having that conversation, right? There are checklists. There's also checklists for athletes, right? Hey, what is your game day routine? How do you warm up? What do you eat? Are you reviewing film? These are all checklists. The same way with construction. Could you imagine somebody building a bridge with no checklist? How safe would you feel crossing that bridge, right? So I'm giving you these examples, but why don't you have checklists? Right? You might be thinking, well, Perry, life ain't that serious. I'm not flying any planes or whatnot. So, okay, so let's reframe that. How is your life not that serious? It's the only life you will ever have. In life, there are no sequels. You got right now. You got your body. This is the body you have right now. This is the life you have right now. Why don't you have a checklist to help you reach your goals, right? It seems like you have a checklist for almost everything else. Almost every industry has a checklist, but we're not taught that we should have checklists to actually help us reach our goals, right? So I'm having this conversation with the girls and they starting to kind of connect the dots, right? And then I start to go into, one of my typical rants. And I was like, okay, there's a difference in being, let me put this up here for you. There's a difference. Make sure that's showing for you guys. If y'all picking up when I'm laying down, say something in the comments so I know that you guys are alive out there, right? I'm gonna show make sure my whiteboard is showing. Okay, good. Look like it's teeing up now. Okay, perfect. Right. So I start drawing these on the right board. I said it's a difference in being proactive versus reactive. Right. Proactive mean that you're planning ahead. Hey, you know what? I have this goal. What are the things that I need to do in order to hit this goal, right? So proactive. Hey, I'm going to be proactive and I'm going to set my alarm to wake up at 4:15 because I don't want to be reactive and just continue to sleep until, my body wakes up and next thing I know I wake up at 10:30, 11 o'clock and I've missed some of the most productive hours in the day. So I'm proactive and reaching my goal in that sense, right? So I'm taking action in preparation for. That makes sense, y'all? Okay, cool. So I broke that down to him. So, being reactive, you're kind of just, oh, you're always in this stressful mode of, oh, well, okay, well, okay, I got to do this, I got to do it, I got to do that, versus being proactive and having a plan, right? Checklists put you in control of your outcomes, right? So next thing we had in here, look over here, we had put this on the dry erase board. The notes are still up. Plan outcome versus by chance. Okay. So here's the deal, y'all. What I was trying to get the girls to understand here was, controlling the controllables, right? Control what you can control. So let's talk about athletics, right? I love to talk on that. So I'm a former D1 athlete. I was fortunate enough to be one of those less than 5% of individuals, high school athletes, to get a D1 scholarship, and I didn't get it straight out of school. Like I had to go to junior college route. Went to one school, things didn't work out. Went played junior college ball. Finally got a D1 scholarship, right? Full ride. And some things you can't control. You can't control who's going to recruit you. But what you can control is planning to be in the best place you can possibly be in so that if an opportunity comes up, you're able to walk through that door. One of the best pieces of advice my mom ever gave me my freshman year when things didn't work out at the college that I went to, she said, "Baby, you play basketball because you love it. And you never let anybody take that away from you. But more importantly, you want to work on your game now harder than ever because I don't know if you're ever going to get a chance to play again, but if that opportunity ever presents itself, you need to be able to walk through that door, right?" So what I took from that was, man, I started hitting the weights for the first time in my life my freshman year. We got some funny stories about, college freshmen. We taking all kind of protein and weight gainer shakes and, what I'm saying, got barely anything on the bench press bar, might have like 225s on, right? So like wasn't like we was out here killing it, what I'm saying? But we was active. I was working out. I was hitting the weights. I was trying to put on muscle. I was playing ball. I was getting my shots up. I went into a mode of I'm going to control everything I can control. And if I get a chance, I'm going to be ready. And what happened? I came home that summer. I got a phone call from Coach Van Gundy and said, "Hey, we got some film on you. We heard about you. We're looking for a combo guard, someone who can play the two, one and the two. You want to come play basketball?" And I was prepared to do that because I planned for the outcome that I wanted to have. Didn't even know if the opportunity was going to even present itself, but I was going to be ready for that. So I shared that with my daughters. Next thing we got on the board over here. Let's see here. I had consistency versus excuses. Right. This has always been my cheat code. I was never the best athlete. I was never the most athletic. Matter of fact, I share this with folks all the time. I was the shortest starter on my high school team, right? And that's when I was 6'1". So, I was never the standout player, right? But I was hella consistent. And to this day, I'm hella consistent. I don't need to get up at 4 o'clock every day to go to the gym and work out, but I'm hella consistent. Every Friday, I do the same thing. I swim laps for my mom. I get to the gym. I swim laps for my mom. I take time for breakfast with me and my mom. She's gone now, but I journal to her, right? I'm consistent, right? I try to post consistently. Even though on social media, some stuff may hit. I may get a like every once in a while. Sometimes I might get, a couple comments, but I consistently do these things. I'm consistently recording these trainings regardless of how I feel. Like I look crazy right now. I need to, what I'm saying, get my clippers and cut this hair off my lip and clean up a little bit. But I show up. This is what consistency looks like. It's not based on how you feel. Right. Oh, Dad, I didn't want to get up. I just didn't feel like getting up. Well, why didn't you feel like getting up? Was it because you was up to 12, 1, 2 o'clock at night? Okay, so you got to make some sacrifices, right? But consistency, being consistent is a skill in of itself. Because if you're not being consistent, then you're just making excuses about why you can't get things done, right? So let me do a quick pause here and jump into this other piece. So that was super important, right? If you don't see progress, look at your routine, not your ambition, not your goals. Hey, man, I want to become, financially free. Great. What do you do consistently that aligns with you being financially free? How often do you look at your bank accounts? How often do you use, AI to research different investments? How often do you meet with your coach? How often do you meet with your mentor, right? What do you do consistently that aligns with this goal that you have? If you cannot list what you do consistently to get to a certain goal, that means you're making an excuse. Well, I just didn't have time. You didn't have time to do what? right? And I get it. Time can get away from us. That's why I'm real big on creating checklists so that you keep in front of you what you need to do. So, talking about keeping in front of you things that you need to do here, let's talk about this real quick. So, let me get out of here. Stop sharing this. Had this conversation with my daughters, and again, they're 15, about to turn 16. But I told them, I said, you guys about to be driving here soon. So your expectation of us as parents is to trust you to drive a 50 to $100,000 vehicle, piece of machinery. You want me to trust you with a 50? Let this sink in for a second, family. If you got kids who are about to drive, right? So I have a Range Rover. My wife has a Genesis that we bought her, right? So we have, I don't know if I guess you will call them luxury vehicles, if you will. So 15-year-old daughter, you would like us as your parents to trust you with the responsibility of driving $100,000 piece of machinery. If you want me to trust you with something of that magnitude, I should be able to trust you to do the little things that you choose that's gonna help you get closer to the goals that you choose. That makes sense, right? Because why would I trust you with something big if I can't trust you with something small? Okay, so I had this conversation with him. I said, "So let me tell you something, yo. I can tell how successful a person will be, or on the opposite side of that, I can tell you how mediocre a person will be by looking at two things." Just two things: looking at their calendar and looking at their bank account. And I know that smacks somebody in the face, but this is, I can tell how successful or mediocre a person will be by looking at those two things. Those two things. That's it. Okay. So let me talk about the calendar. If I open up your calendar right now, family, what would I see on your calendar? What would I see? Would I see where you have your workout schedule? Would I see where you had your reading scheduled? Would I see where you have time with your loved ones scheduled? Like, what would I see if I open up your calendar? Okay. And just let you know that I'm just not talking off the side of my neck here. Let me share my calendar real quick. Let me make sure that this is sharing with you guys. So hold on. Let me see if if you guys are catching this piece over here. Okay. Here's my calendar, right? And this is what I did. I pulled out all of the appointments with people's names on them and things of that nature, right? But you look at my calendar here, 5 a.m. What do you see? Exercise block. So my exercise is scheduled. It's on my calendar. You know why it's on my calendar? What's on your calendar gets done. Okay, what do I have next? On Monday, I got a creativity session from 7:30 to 8:30. I find that I'm most creative in the morning. You may be different, but that's my jam, right? Okay. On this particular Sunday right here, you see I got church service. That's good. It's important to me. It's on there. Oh my goodness, what's in there? The Jeffries family meeting. We have a Jeffries family financial meeting on Sundays, right? Then you go to Monday, look at my admin day. I still got an exercise block, 5 to 7:30, creativity session, financial review, admin tasks. What do we got going on here on Tuesday, right? I have my sales activities, right? I have things that's going to help generate revenue for the business. Even getting down into family dinner and relaxation, which we kind of need to change this up a little bit now because family dinner relaxation was so late because the girls were, were in AU and had practices and we wouldn't get home till, 8, 9 o'clock. So we need to change that up a little bit. But also too, what do I have going on Friday? Date night with hot babe, right? If it's important, you put it on your calendar. So I can tell what's important to you by your calendar. So if we think about, the 6 F's that I talk about that we teach and we coach on: faith, family, friends, fitness, fun, finance. I should be able to see all 6 of these on your calendar if they're important to you. Because guess what? Things that are important to you go on the calendar. I bet you got that happy hour on your calendar. You got that party on your calendar, but I can't look at your calendar and see when you're going to actually read on how to get smarter. I'm not going to look in your calendar and see that, hey, you got some time allocated that you're going to reach out to your mentors. Oh, your revenue isn't banging in your business. I should be able to see on your calendar where you're going to do activities that's actually going to drive your revenue. If it's important to you, it shows up on your calendar, family. Okay. So your calendar shows me if you're a steward of the most valuable asset we have. And what is the most valuable asset we have? Time. It's the one thing we can't get back. Time. So let me see your calendar, right? If you open up your calendar right now and it didn't have, appointments for your 6Fs, go back in there and make those adjustments on your calendar, right? How are you going to show up for your spouse or your loved one? Is it on the calendar? A lot of divorces happening, you know what I'm saying? Know why? Because they're not scheduling the time for each other. Here recently, my wife lost her workout partner for a little bit, and I know she works out and loves. She's better going to the gym when she has somebody she can work out with. So we were doing our walk one day, and I said, "Hey, babe, I want to run this by you. I like working out by myself, and you know that, but I'm willing to work out with you a couple days out the week because I know one, you enjoy it and it gets you, the motivation and whatnot to consistently go to the gym. Two, just so we can spend more time with each other. So guess what's on our calendar for Thursday? Working out with wifey, working out with right. If the shit is important to you, it should show up on your calendar. Period. Okay. Now let's talk about your bank account. Because I told you, I can tell you how successful a person is, or they're going to be, or how mediocre they are, or they're going to be by looking at two things: the calendar as well as their bank account. So here's the deal with the bank account. I'm not looking at your balance. Everybody's balances are different, right? I'm not going to judge you on somebody else's bank account. Oh, Elon has 10 million in his bank account. So if you don't have 10 million in your bank account, you're a bum. That's not what I'm looking for. What I want to see from your bank account or your credit card statement is where you spend your money. That would tell me about everything I need to know about you, right? If I look at your bank account and you're not spending some of your money, right? All of us got to pay the bills, right? So you got to pay the mortgage bill, you got to pay the light bill and utilities and things, grocery bills, got it. But where else do you spend your money? On your free time, like the non-essentials. So I'm not talking about the essentials, the necessities. I'm talking about the non-essentials. Where are you spending your money will tell me a lot. Are you spending it on online courses? Can I say like, oh, you bought an online course here. Oh, you invested in some coaching. Okay, cool. Oh, I see here that you know what I'm saying, you invested to go into Perry's financial freedom boot camp. Okay. I see your gym membership on here. Okay, right. What am I seeing? Am I going to see things that you're spending your money on that improve your quality of life and gives you more help solidify and build the foundation for you to go out here and be extraordinary? Or I'm going to see that you spend all your money on fast food. I'm see that you got your Netflix and your Hulu, but you don't have no coaching programs, right? You're not paying for access to get into the rooms to learn how to become smarter and more. Like, where are you spending your money? Like, that is telling, very telling. So if you open up your checking account or your credit card statement right now, would you be ashamed to show me where you're spending your money or to show anyone? Like if we had to open up to the public and say, hey, public, let me open up my credit card statement and let me show you where I'm spending my money, right? If you open up my business credit card statement, you see I'm spending the money on courses. I'm spending the money on paying my team so that we can leverage and scale and help more people, right? I'm paying for technology, right? I'm paying for the top of line version of Chat GPT, right? You can see those things. If you look at my personal, you're going to see, hey, you know what I'm saying? We went to a place and got protein shakes, right? Now, granted, don't get me twisted. You're going to see some fast food on there. Because if you don't know, I am a fast food connoisseur, right? Yep. The other night, it was late and we had to stop about, it was super late, I think 11, almost 11 o'clock. I had to give a speech at this event and ran over. And I was like, man, we have to stop and get some Swensons, y'all. What y'all want, some Swensons? Everybody like, yeah. If you're not hip to Swensons, one of the best burgers in the world, actually found it out of Akron. That's where I'm from, right? We got one in Columbus now, so it's like a taste of home. So don't get it twisted. I still spend stuff on things that, feel good, taste good, the whole nine. But again, you're also going to see where I'm spending money on coaches. Man, you bought this course, you bought this master class, you bought these books. I don't get a lot of Amazon packages to the crib, but it is probably a 9 time out of 10 that if you see a package hit our doorstep with my name on it, it's a book or some type of resource, right? So again, where are you spending your money, right? Are you spending all your money on fast food and DoorDash? Can we not see where you're spending the money on some protein shakes and supplements and vitamins and things of that nature? Where are you spending your money at, family, right? Two things. So I broke that down to my daughters, right? I said, hey, I see what you're spending your money on, right? Are you spending your money on an experience or buying something for somebody else, or is everything always for you? Ooh, tells me real quick that you're pretty selfish and self-centered, right? Man, something to think about, family, right? If we opened up your checking account, would you be embarrassed to let people see where you're spending your money, right? So two things: your calendar and your checking account or your credit card statement. Where are you spending your money? This reveals your values. And oh, hold on. Can I see where money is going out to invest? Right? If you look at mine, you're going to see $25 a week going in cryptocurrency. You're going to see $500 a month going to this account over here. You're going to see $2,000 a month going to this account over here. You're going to see close to $60,000 leaving our account, going into our asset building, going into our cash flow generating assets to help us become stronger so that I can retire before the age of 50, right? Well, become work optional. So y'all, super important. Okay, let's keep the party going. Next thing I broke down for the girls. Get back here to my whiteboard here. I want to make sure you guys get this one. Another one I broke down here for y'all family is this. Is the reverse engineering. And I see somebody commenting and said, man, I missed the 6 F's. The 6 F's are faith, family, friends, fitness, fun, finances. In that order. I'm very intentional about that order. Again, faith, family, friends, fitness, fun, finances last. And then I introduced my daughters to this concept called reverse engineering, right? And I asked them, I said, do y'all know what reverse engineering is? And they're like, nah, dad, just explain it to us, right? At this point in time, I could tell they was maybe getting slightly annoyed, but I don't care because the lesson's still going to be the lesson, right? So reverse engineering, I said, this is where you're here and you want to get here. This is your destination, or we call this is your goal, right? This is where you want to get to. Okay. Well, reverse engineering is breaking down, hey, my goal is to get to here. What steps do I need to take in order to get there, right? Versus just is jumping out on this path moving forward and be like, okay, cool. Well, you know what? I'm just going to, maybe I'm gonna go here and I might go off track and go up here. Let me make this blue so y'all can see it, right? Let me go up here, but no, that's not where I wanted to go. And okay, well, let me go down here. But no, that's not. Oh, let me just go back up. No, you want to reverse engineer, right? So if someone tells me they have a goal to, again, you know what I'm saying? Let's say, hey, you have a goal to, kid has a goal to start varsity, right? In whatever sport they're playing, basketball, soccer, lacrosse, whatever the case may be. Ask them. So if that's your goal is to start varsity, then what do you need to do in reverse engineering in order to do that? It makes them think because just showing up is not enough. You have to think like, okay, what do I have to do? Well, I have to be able to, if I'm going to start, I need to be able to probably make 90% of my free throws. Okay, so I need to start making, really practicing on these free throws. Man, if I want to be able to start varsity, shit, I need to probably hit, maybe 30% of the 3 pointers I shoot. Okay, well, I need to get those shots up. When I start varsity, I need to be able to defend. If I need to start varsity, man, I need to be able to, be a good teammate and have good energy. Man, if I want to be able to start varsity, shoot, I need to be able to be in great conditioning. So I probably need to run or swim or do some things that I need to be stretching and working my mobility. Like, what are the steps you need to take in order to reach the goal? And you reverse engineer. Everything can be reverse engineered, right? Hey, this is the goal. What are the steps I need to take to get there? And if you don't know how to do it on your own, use Chat GPT, use AI, or better yet, find somebody who's already reached that goal and start asking them, hey, how did you get to that goal? That's even better. Just find out how they got there and do what they do, right? That's the reason we have our Millionaire Mentorship, a mastermind program, because all of us have different skill sets. All of us have had success in different areas, and we can mastermind and be like, well, this is how I got there, right? Don't necessarily mean that you got to follow my exact path, but at least you kind of have a blueprint of somebody who's gotten there. Because if they've gotten to the destination, they can tell you how they got there. Wow, Perry. So just find successful people and ask them what they did to get successful and map it out. And then, do what they did. Maybe add your own flavor to it. But if they're at the place you're trying to get to, it's kind of like, hey man, I don't know how to get to the location, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, how do you get to your university, right? If they're there, well, I'm at the university now. Okay, how did you get there, man? I went straight down Main Street, made a left on the long street, you know what I'm saying? Went another 10 miles and then right. Oh, okay, cool. So that's the blueprint, right? Reverse engineering, so important, right? So this is one that kind of blows my mind right here. If I ask somebody, say, hey, if your goal is to make, $10,000 a month passive income, right? Or $10,000 a month in revenue, how many leads do you need to talk to? How many appointments do you need to have on your calendar? What needs to be your closing rate, right? How much of an offer? What are you selling? Are you selling $1,000 offer, right? Hey, I know my goal is to be work optional to have, more passive income than I have monthly expenses. Well, do you even know what your monthly expenses are? I do, damn near down to the penny. So if I know my monthly expenses are X, so this I'm gonna use just a random number, we're gonna use 10,000. If I know my monthly expenses are 10,000, then I look and see what I currently have and I reverse engineer. Okay, cool. Well, if I want to have 10,000 by this particular date, that means I need to add this per year. I need to add this per month. I need to add this per week. Okay, in order for me to add these income streams, I need to get this many properties per quarter. I need to get this many clients per year. I need to get so I need to have these many subscribers by this time. Back into the numbers, family. Stop guessing. Know what you need to do. Super important, right? So I did that exercise with the girls. So we did the whole reverse engineering piece. So we're almost finished here, y'all. So right. So when you reverse engineer, you're not guessing your way to success. You're calculating your way to success. You're using math, right? My coach, my bulletproof coach, John Whiting, like he was a master at this. He could literally be like, hey, how much income do you want to make? You want to make, okay, you want to make, $100,000 a year. Okay. How much is your offer? You know what I'm saying? Okay. You're selling something that's $1,000. Okay, cool. So you need to sell, 100 people need to buy your $1,000. Okay, cool. Well, how many people are you talking to? I'm not talking. I'm not tracking that. You don't know how many people you're talking to. So how in the world can you actually know how many people you need to talk to? Because it all comes down to math. He would break that thing down to the point where it's like, okay, your closing rate is 50%. That means you need to talk to, what I'm saying, and you need to close this many people per month. Okay, so that means that you need to talk to this many people with this 50% closing rate or conversion rate, and this is going to get you to the goal. Now you actually have data to work off of. Right. So I'm teaching this to my daughters, and granted, they're 15. So I didn't go all into that whole piece, but I did challenge them. I said, hey, you need to have a checklist, right? I need to see your calendar. You're on your phone all the dang on time. How about we use it to be productive? right? TikTok ain't gonna get you closer to your goal unless you're watching a TikTok about helping you get better at something that you're passionate about to get better at, right? But is it scheduled? So anyway, we started going through this whole piece, and they started to kind of connect the dots, right? So here's the deal, family. You don't attract success. You align with it through your habits. You having goals don't mean you're gonna hit those goals. I need to see your habits and your systems. Your systems create the habits, and the habits create your results. Not, oh, I just rolled out of bed and say I want to be financially free, or I want to be a millionaire, or I want to be a D1 athlete, or no, 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 no. What are your systems that you're using? And why do we stress so much systems? Because systems allow ordinary people to achieve extraordinary results. Show me what systems you're using. In my financial space, I think I put it up. I think we're using 20 some odd systems, right? And it's not overwhelming, you know what I'm saying, right? It may sound overwhelming, but it's just systems. So we use the profit first system to manage our cash. So when money comes in, we know exactly where those dollars are going. We use the IBC system, infinite banking concept, as a system and a place to store that excess cash so that we have that money available to go out and invest. We use the BRRRR method, right, which is a real estate investing method where we're buying a property, renovating it, renting it out, refinancing it, pulling our money back out, and then taking that money and doing it again. That's a system. So the reason I have such a high level of confidence about my finances is because I'm using proven systems. My wealthy framework is a system I created. Set your finances up this way with these 7 components so you're in a position to become work optional as quickly as possible. That's the system that we introduce people to in our financial freedom boot camp. And it's the system that we coach people on in our mentorship program, right? So everything is coming down to systems. And guess what? Your calendar, wait for it, drum roll, brrr, your calendar is a system. Use the system, family. A checklist is a system. Pilots, thank goodness that pilots are using a checklist. Thank goodness, surgeons are using a checklist. Why are you not using a checklist to help you get closer to your goals? Hey, when I was training for my fitness show, I had a checklist. I had 3 different systems. I had a nutritional system, I had a cardio system, I had a resistance training system I was using. I never, ooh, geez, this is just right off the dome. Y'all stay with me here. When I was training for my show, I never walked into the gym not knowing what the hell I was going to do that day. I knew what exercise I was going to do. I knew how many reps I was going to try to do the exercise. I knew the rest in between. I knew what I was going to eat that day. I knew what I was going to have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, down to, hey, I know dinner is going to be 5 Brussels sprouts. 5 Brussels sprouts, 7 ounces of chicken, and a half a sweet potato. Like, that was the system. And that system allowed me in my first fitness show, or first, physique show ever, to actually place, what I'm saying, overall, and also to come in 4th in the master's division, because I'm not a young spring chicken, right? So I got, what I'm saying, I don't know if y'all can see it. Yeah, if y'all can see behind me that way, yeah, there it is right there. There's my trophy, right? So I use systems, and I have multiple systems that I use, right? So that's the deal, family. Your calendar is a system. Your checklist is your system to success. All right, we won't finish this piece out, Joe. Quick recap here. You don't need more motivation. You need a proven system. Your checklist is your personal blueprint to wealth, peace, and purpose. So here's a challenge for you, right? Pick one goal this week, whatever it is, right? Hey, whatever the goal is. Hey, the goal is, have a crazy date night, what I'm saying, with my wife this weekend. Or, hey, goal is to, you know, um, get to the gym 5 days this week, or whatever the case may be, right? Reverse engineer that goal, whatever that goal is. Look at the goal and look at what are the steps we need to do, right? And then you build a checklist to move forward that. Okay, So for me to have a date night with my wife, I need to make sure that nothing is on the calendar. Check. Need to make sure that we got reservations to go someplace. Check. So we not getting in the car talking about, well, what you want to eat? I don't know what do you got a taste for? Well, I don't know what you got a taste for. Well, we drinking tonight or we not drinking tonight? Like, no, it's playing. Hey, did I get the location? Did I lock down the time? Did I clear out my calendar? Did I feed the girls to make sure they got something to eat? That's all a checklist to make sure that date night is dope, right? Here's one for you. We talking about your calendar and all of that. You know, I'm working with some clients right now that are trying to, navigate some debt and figure some things out. And I'm like, hey, you need to meet with your spouse and so we can kind of talk about the plan. And every day it's another excuse. Oh, we didn't meet today. So is it on the calendar? Did you put, hey, it's on the calendar? On our Sunday, we have a Jeffries family financial meeting. And in full transparency, do we always make it? Like this past weekend, we threw a huge event. Everybody was just sleeping. I did get up and work out though. Everybody else was just sleeping. I let them sleep because my wife put in so much work for this event. So I just let her sleep as long as she wanted to, right? And then it's like, okay, we're gonna chill today, right? But it's on the calendar. Right? Like that's the big step. Did you even get it on the calendar? If you are trying to be financially free and go to the next level, do you need to meet with your spouse? Do you need to meet with your partner? Put it on the calendar. Make an appointment. It's like a doctor appointment. When you get a doctor's appointment, do you not put it on your schedule? Right? It's important. Or do you just kind of go off of memory? I'll remember to go. I'll remember to go. That's not how life works, fam. Okay. All right. So pick one goal this week, reverse engineer it, build a three-step checklist to move forward, right? And there you go, right? Here's something else you can possibly put on your calendar. July 7th, we are opening up our doors for our financial freedom boot camp. We haven't done it in a while. It's a 5-day boot camp, absolutely phenomenal. Information will be on the link. And if you're watching this on YouTube, it'll be in the description for people inside our Cash Flow Unlocked community. I'll drop the link below the video or in the chat or someplace so you guys can have it, right? But if you're serious about getting your finances in order and learning a wealthy framework, a system that is proven to, if you run the system the right way, put you in a position to become work optional and start to grow your passive income, put it on your calendar, right? Don't come with the excuse, oh, well, I can't make it. No, videos are recorded. Put it on your calendar. And guess what? If you can't make it during the live sessions, you put on your calendar, okay, I can't make this live sessions, but I'm going to watch the recording at this time. And I'm going to block out on my calendar to watch this at this time. I'm going to block out on my calendar to do the workbook at this time. Like, let's stop making excuses, family. If it's important to you, put it on the calendar. If it's important to you, create a checklist, right? All right, y'all. Hope this video was valuable. Make sure on YouTube, if this was valuable, like, subscribe, but most importantly, share. Let's get this information out. We believe that this is definitely going to help take some people to the next level. We'll see you guys in the next video. My Cash Flow Unlocked family, appreciate y'all jumping in live here with me. Appreciate the energy in the comments. Love y'all, rocking with y'all. Talk to y'all soon. Peace.